All right, and we are back right here on the Seth Williams Show. What'd you think, Seth?
Why is it that every rock star that we have on here is like a super good looking dude and got their shit together? Is that because they have money or what? What is it? Because like me, you can tell that I'm not a rock star. You can tell, oh yeah, Seth, he's lucky to be a radio guy, but radio guy definitely because he's got a face for it. Like every guy that we have on here is like this super cool, good looking dude. He's got a leather jacket on, looks badass and everything.
Right.
Those glasses probably don't even do anything. Like he probably didn't even have lenses in those glasses because it makes him look cooler. And it just pisses me off, dude.
Did I say Chris Aiken presents?
No, I don't think so. Did you? Maybe.
Somebody said I did. Oh, sorry. I do a lot of interviews, folks. I do 5 to 8 interviews a week. They get jumbly occasionally. But how cool was Keith, man?
He's great.
He's great.
I noticed that he didn't seem to want to talk about the Breaking Benjamin stuff as much as,
He's
I know he's pushing his solo stuff. I get that. But still, you're one of the bigger bands from that era, if not the top 1 or 2 bands of that era, and you don't want to talk about it. I think that's,
you know what? It's probably one of, and I'm guessing, I have no idea. But it could very well be one of those things that, if you're not for sure what's going on, it's better not to say anything than to say something and have it misconstrued, especially if you're not one of the original guys in the band.
Right. I get it. You've been with the band long enough that you should be.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised, man.
But I didn't want to cross the line and bother the guy about it because I know he's pushing his solo stuff, which is great. I love his solo stuff. But me being the fan of that band that I was,
sure, you should have asked him. He would have. He would have answered it.
I felt like the one question I did ask about Breaking Benjamin was kind of like,
well, he's he is on. He's only gets X amount of interviews to promote his solo stuff, and
I get it.
He wants to push it. And
I thought it was great. Me personally.
I get it, but I'm telling you, and you know this, Seth, from talking to these guys for 25 years too. A lot of these guys, when they're trying to do something solo, they get like 1 or 2 questions about the solo band, and then it's all the bigger band.
Right, I get it.
It's like, oh, you have a new record? Well, what does that have to do with Breaking Benjamin's schedule? That's the questions.
I remember. I think I interviewed CC DeVille way back in the day, dude, and he was doing that. What's that band called that he had? 7 or something?
Samantha 7.
Samantha 7, and I think there was one question about Samantha 7, and everything else is about. It was nothing about Samantha 7.
That's hilarious. That's too funny.
But you're right. I mean, that's the way it works. If you're in a big band, you try to break out and try to do something else.
Yeah, and they all want to, if they had time and the questions are good, and I've found this forever, if you ask good questions, they'll stay on with you all day long if they don't have a schedule of interviews to do.
Right.
But the problem is A, most interviewers blow, and B, they wedge them all into, they try to do 30 interviews in 3 days. It just gets to be, just punishing for them to where I can't even fathom doing, like Keith is probably, I know he's radio touring today. That's why, we got him in the middle of stuff. That's why I had like 5 more questions to ask him, but I knew we ran out of time and he had a 5 o'clock to do.
Yeah.
So, but
I'm glad he stayed on as long as he did.
Yeah, no, dude, he was great. I've interviewed him once before too. He's really good, man. He's very low key, very humble. He's very humble to say, well, I don't think I'm one of those guys. Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are. When major platinum artists are reaching out to you to help clean up their music or to write with you or to perform with you, yeah, you are one of those guys.
He's probably talking to the next radio guys going, yeah, the last jackass I talked to wanted to get in my van and have sex with chicks.
Yeah. And the guy didn't even know what show they were fucking on. That's all right. He was fun.
Yeah, it was good.
So good.
I like talking to those guys, man.
Yeah. I love, dude. I mean, obviously, I talk to bands.
Good.
Yeah, the music's great. I mean, he's really, in that zone of what I know he's in that zone of what you like.
Oh yeah.
I've been trying to find bands that are like in your zone, you know, to bring to the show, and or real old bands like 70s type bands.
Yeah,
because that's.
I have a wide variety of likes.
Sure.
A lot of the stuff that you like, though, is a little bit
too heavy.
Too heavy for me. You know, like,
sure.
I don't want something, you know. I like a little melody in my music, and you know, I like some of the harder stuff, but I still like a little metal or a little melody in it.
Yeah, see, I like the heavier the better for me. They don't make music too heavy for me. I like all of it, the Cannibal Corpse and the Immolation and stuff like that.
Maybe we should get your mother on this show to talk about why you are the way that you are, Chris.
She won't even have an answer.
Why you're so angry and want to kill people when you listen to music.
I'd be happy to have my mom on. I'm sure she would come on and say some crazy shit. That's for sure. But
you'd probably dancing around the house, listening to Cannibal Corpse with your gun in your hand.
No. Dude, what's funny is day-to-day listening, I am probably 50-50. Sometimes it's like all really heavy music, but a lot of times it's yacht rock. I mean, a lot of times it's, you know, England Dan and John Ford Coley and stuff like that, or Air Supply, or it's the weirdest. And my playlists, like when I just let it roam, it does do that too. It'll go from like Kid Rock to, I don't know, Obituary or something. And that sounds perfectly fine to me. It doesn't, I never listen to it and be like, oh, what the hell? You know, never. You know,
I'm trying to think of the guy who's the guy from the band Disco Inferno that I'm thinking
of? Dave Brooks?
No, Disco Inferno.
I don't know those guys.
I was Breakfast Club.
Yeah, I don't know the Disco Inferno guys. Believe it or not, I don't.
Really? Well, I think you would know them.
You know what? I know Billy had a falling out with them, and I just never got to know him because I'm friends with Billy. It's one of those deals.
I thought they had a reconnection, but anyway, the lead singer of that band has like a yacht rock band that I always wanted to go see. Play around town.
Sure.
Joey DiPasquale?
I know the name, but I don't know him. No.
It might be him.
Yeah.
I
wish I could.
Some of those local bands I like, man. I like the Disco Infernos, but it was a yacht rock band.
I love the yacht rock stuff. There's a really great documentary on Paramount Plus about yacht rock, the whole history of yacht rock. It's really, really good. Talks about like Christopher Cross and Air Supply. It has interviews with all these guys too. It's really quite interesting to see how these guys all came to be. A lot of them were like Christopher Cross was a guitar player. He wasn't even a singer.
Really?
You know, yeah, no, he was a guitar player.
Well, I know I talk shit about Spotify, but at the same time, I love Spotify because like yacht rock radio is one of my favorite to listen to on Spotify.
Mm-hmm, me too.
And you can find anything on Spotify.
Oh yeah, it's all there. It's all there
for free.
Wish I could. Yeah.
Well, not really free. I mean, I think I paid like $13 a month for my family subscription to Spotify.
Something like that, yeah. Dude, it just, you know, it's exactly what we were talking about, though, for a guy like Keith. You know, how many plays does he have to get when it costs you nothing to get it?
Yeah.
You know, who's going to pay it? Spotify's going to pay something, but they're going to pay like 1/1,000,000th of a dollar or something, you know, or of a penny.
The amount that I use Spotify is unbelievable. Now, here's the problem with Spotify.
Okay.
So every single night when I go to bed, I listen to Spotify. Mm-hmm. But I listen to, like, sleep sounds.
Okay.
So, like, there's an entire category of sleep sounds. I
get
stuff like
rain and stuff.
Rain in Tokyo. I get, like, you know, like a patio in Venice. I get all these different sounds that are just relaxing and nice to sleep to. So they have a feature now on Spotify. Do you use Spotify a lot?
I have it. I don't use it a ton, but I
have a feature now where it's like a personalized DJ.
Okay.
And so they don't have to have an actual person talk, but it sounds like an actual person. It's an AI thing.
Oh, I have not heard that, no.
It's supposed to like pick the stuff that you love the most. And so, like, I listen to a lot of stuff on Spotify, a lot of music when I'm outside or out driving and stuff.
Right.
But now I put on this personal DJ, and he goes, and now we're going to pick from the hottest list that you listen to all the time.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, I'm driving around, and it's Tokyo Rain. And not the band. It's like it's just rain. It's happening in a part
nice.
Of Tokyo. And then it's like a tugboat down the Mississippi. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, this is what I fall asleep to, not what I want to hear. So they still got to work on the AI a little bit, but it's a fun thing, I guess.
Yeah. Dude, I mean,
But they used to bitch that you took music for free when you had Napster or LimeWire or those kind of things, and now here it is.
That is the and what's crazy is for guys like me that are, have music shows and whatever, they lock down the music too. Like they don't send it to where it's like MP3s or something where it could be traded. Like they're still pretending like that's a thing. Like illegal downloading is a thing. Why would anybody illegally download anything anymore?
No, you don't have to. It's right there.
It's all free. Keith's record will go live on May 3rd at midnight, and I will be able to listen to it at 12 o'clock at 1 second.
Yeah.
Why the hell would I risk jail time and a $700,000 fine to download it?
Man, I used to be like maybe I shouldn't say it. I don't know what the statute
it's too late now. Statute.
I used to DJ at a bar on Avon Lake.
Sure.
And so I had a hard drive, and I needed music to play for all the girls that were dancing and everything else. And so literally, I would sit on LimeWire and just bloop, bloop, bloop into this hard drive. It was just I had 10,000 songs in this hard drive that I just illegally took from wherever.
Sure, dude. One of the hang-ups, I've had 3 hang-ups in my interviewing life: Snoop Dogg, Don Dokken, and David Mustaine of Megadeth.
Yeah.
And Mustaine hung up on me. We got talking about Spotify, or not Spotify, Napster.
Napster.
When Napster was hot. And he said he was trying to be, because he asked me if I use it, and I said yes. I told him the truth. I said, yeah, I use it. And he goes, I hope you can sleep all right knowing that you're stealing from me. And I, without even hesitating, I said, you know what, Dave? I sleep just fine. And he just was like, well, fuck you, man. Click.
It doesn't look like you're missing any meals, Dave.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's quite fine, but, and he was right. I mean, I was stealing from him, I guess, but, so was everybody else.
That's what I think is funny. If we sit here and play a YouTube video of whatever we want in the background of music and play it on the show, we get tagged for some bullshit.
Yeah, we get flagged.
Yeah, you can listen to it on Spotify. Anybody can listen on Spotify for nothing in your phone. I don't understand the logic behind it.
Dude, and it's worse than that. If you play it on Facebook, you've seen these Facebook things that we get every show, right?
Yeah.
Every show we get this has been blocked by Facebook, and then I appeal it, and then they release it like a week later.
We just got released by like Sony.
Sony released something. But here's the crazy thing. Whatever song that was, if I create a Facebook story with like the album art or a picture of me in that band or whatever,
fine.
They have a button that you can push to add the music, and I can add the same exact music, and that's fine. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Does Rumble have the same?
Rumble doesn't seem to give a shit. They don't seem to care. I think they're like, look, if somebody wants to sue for fair use, then they'll. I'm pretty sure in the terms of service that we agreed to something that if they do sue, then it's on us. It's not on Rumble because we uploaded it. And that's why, and nobody knows this, but I'll share it. I'll pull the curtain back. That's why every clip that we play of these bands is 59 seconds and not 1 minute and 2. I make sure that it's under 1 minute. I mean, I go out of my way to make sure that the clips are 59 seconds so that if there ever is any dispute, it's fair use. There's part of fair use that is eliminated if you play too much of something without commenting on it. but under a minute is kind of like a safe harbor. So
I told you my Dave Mustaine story, right?
what? Oh, no, maybe.
So I was somewhere and I got called in. I was going to see my wife, actually, my now wife.
Right.
We were dating,
Right.
and the program director from MMS called and said, "We need you to go downtown and introduce a concert." I said, "Okay." So I went downtown and I got to the Odeon. I didn't even know who it was until I saw it outside. It was
Right.
Megadeth was there. And so I'm like, all right, sweet. I go up and introduce Megadeth. I didn't even know I was going there. I didn't know it happened that day, but whatever.
Right.
Fine. And so I'm walking up the stairs with their tour manager or somebody. And I had an MMS jean jacket on and a T-shirt on. And she goes, "You need to button up your jacket, damn it." I was like, "What's the problem?" I don't understand. And I'm wearing a Metallica Summer Santa tour shirt. And she's like, "You have a Metallica shirt on." It's like,
yeah, Dave might not like that.
I'm like, oh, whatever. And so I had to button up my jacket so I could go in and meet Dave Mustaine and Megadeth. And he was very nice to me. And I luckily didn't see my shirt. And I was able to go introduce the show. She's like, "He won't let you introduce this concert if you're wearing that shirt." I said, "Okay, I'll make sure to button my jacket up." Like, come on, don't be a pussy. You still got a great band out of the deal. You're doing all right, man.
Yeah, I mean, you probably did better. Well, maybe not better than if you just stayed in Metallica, but
No, I doubt that. But
if he stayed in Metallica, they might not have been as big.
and like, look, man, he's a conservative, I believe. I think he's a guy that I actually would have a lot of stuff in common with these days. But I have button up your jacket, or else you can't bring them on. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
I mean, leave now. It doesn't matter to me.
He is notoriously a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
That's not just me saying it. That is a pretty known stereotype of Dave Mustaine.
He was nice to me. I had nothing bad to say about the guy.
Well, he hung up on me, but I don't even hold that against him, really. So what? He didn't like what I had to say. I don't care.
I haven't met a whole lot of bad musicians. Danzig was a dick.
Yeah, he was a total dick to me, too.
There was a black metal band. Is it King's X?
Well, yeah, Doug Pinnick.
He was a dick to me.
Really? God, he's revered as a nice guy usually, but
well, maybe he just didn't like the radio guy because they were playing at the Agora Ballroom, not the main stage area like that.
Yeah, the little room. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I got up on stage, and every fucking time I opened my mouth, he started just wailing on a guitar. Like, so nobody could hear a word I was saying. Every single time I opened my mouth. And finally I said, "You know what? Fuck it. Here's the band. I'm out." I already got my $300 for doing it. So
yeah, it's like, whatever. I'm not a fan of that band, really. They're boring to me.
So I'm trying to think if there's anybody else who's really, really a dick.
Brett Michaels' dick to me.
Really? He didn't. Yeah. It seems like he could be a dick.
He's a dick. Numerous times, so it's not even. I have like 2 or 3 bad Brett Michaels encounters, so including when I almost fought that Big John guy.
Hey, you told me about that.
Yeah, I was very drunk, so it could have been partly me as well. But yeah, I was ready to fight him on that. What's funny with him though is I'm friends with his guitar player from his solo band, Pete Evick.
Yeah.
And Pete's great. I mean, he's really great. And I told Pete those stories about Brett, and he was like, "Oh, he must have just been having a bad day." I was like, "Yeah, he must have had 3 of them." All with me.
I got to get Brett Michaels on Bob's show. That would be fun. A TV show.
Well, you're gonna have to start a little lower there. You might want to get Pete, and then then at the end of it have Pete say, "Oh, this was a great time, Bob. You should do that show."
The best bands out there that I've met: Godsmack and Korn.
We're the nicest, or
the nicest, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Jonathan Davis is really pretty cool.
Dude, he was like the shit to me. But I had like a hell of a story to tell him. So I mean, I may have told the stories. I told my ex-wife, she got to meet him, and she would sleep with me and another chick. So Vegas we did, and then when they came back around, I told Jonathan Davis about it.
Right.
And he gave me like the biggest hug ever, dude. And like, it's like, "You're coming with me." And he took me down like to the front row, like right up against the stage. Like, "Here you go. This is where you guys are sitting." I was like, "All right."
Nice. I'm trying to think who were the nicest people.
Godsmack I got to have dinner with, and Chino from the Deftones took my cigarette and smoked it.
I'm trying to think. John Oates was probably the ultimate nicest for me because he gave me like me and him split an $800 bottle of wine
Nice.
in his dressing room, and then he sat me on the side of the stage, and I spent the whole show handing the percussionist instruments. Like the percussionist would go over and go saxophone, and I'd hand him a saxophone or a fucking tambourine or whatever. It was cool. He was really cool, a lot of fun. I've had, for the most part, most of them are pretty cool.
AC/DC was really cool. I thought that they would have been like the kind of band that would just kind of like, hey, see ya. And they weren't. They were actually a very cool, were willing to sit and talk to you for a while kind of band.
Yeah,
Zach Wild is another one I thought was fucking beyond cool.
Yeah, he's great. I mean,
like that dude was like really something.
He's one of us. He really is just one of us that happened to be ungodly talented and got found. But
yeah, I just remember sitting on his tour bus with him, and I had to interview him, but he didn't want to get interviewed like real quick. He just wanted to sit and talk. And he broke out a guitar and just started playing while I'm sitting on his bus with just me and Zach Wild, and he's playing his guitar for me. I'm like, all right.
You're like, all right.
Like, I hope he doesn't try to make a move here, but I might do it. If he does, it's fucking Zach Wild. How do you say no to that guy?
Dude, most of them are cool. I mean, it's easier to name the bad ones because there's only a few.
Aaron Lewis was a dick.
Yeah, he was kind of a dick to me too. Actually,
now
I'm thinking
better now, but he was a dick back in the day. Like,
well, now he's just an international dick with his political bullshit that he wedges into everything he does instead of just playing his damn songs. But
Steven Tyler was at the Rock Hall when Staind was going to play that night.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, okay, go find me Steven Tyler. I want to say idol. What? Okay, so we found Steven Tyler. And we're like, hey, man, guy wants to say hey to you. And he goes, if that guy wants to say hi to me, tell him he can go find me and fuck himself. But he was like very particular about every little sound that was coming out, and like how the board is all set up, and it was just really weird. It's like, dude, man, you're a rock star, kind of. Go up there and just sing.
Yeah, get up there and
play. The songs
play.
aren't that great anyways. Just go sing.
Yeah. Dude, speaking of the Rock Hall, did you happen to see that Sirius canceled Rock Hall Radio?
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, the last broadcast was February 29th. I wonder if they're going to close that studio.
Who was there? Who was doing it?
Wasn't Rachel Steele doing it?
I thought she was there, and then Catherine Boyd, I think, was also there doing something. But I don't know what channels they were on, so I don't know. They were from the Rock Hall.
I know. All I know is Rachel's my favorite of anybody I ever worked with other than Matt.
She's cool.
Oh, she's the best. Oh, she's extremely hot. Like, hard to speak around her hot, but she's the coolest.
I've done some shows from the Rock Hall, and I like that studio. It's always fun to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I've introduced a lot of shows at the Rock Hall, which is also very cool.
Sure.
But I remember standing on the side of the stage one day by the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing I turn to my right, and there's Good Charlotte just standing there. Like, what's up, man?
Nice.
Hey. I got to do a lot of cool stuff at that place.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you did.
I don't really care for the museum as a whole.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm trying not to say bad things about the place, but
everything is way overpriced. It's super duper expensive. And I don't even blame the Rock Hall, but what the city has done around that area is fucking nothing.
Nothing at all.
They should have built that place up with hotels. They should have built that place up with restaurants and shopping.
They got that submarine.
Yeah. I mean, how stupid is the city of Cleveland? They put the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum on the lakefront there, and then they put the Hard Rock Cafe inside Tower City. Why not put it right next to it so you have rock stuff, and then maybe put, like, I don't know, a Hard Rock Hotel right next to the Hard Rock Hall of Fame?
Yeah, no, it's great. They've dropped the ball on every level with the Rock Hall. on every level, including what's inside the place. I'm not a fan. Isn't AI the same thing as what?
Oh, I'm behind on the comments. I've been looking.
I don't know, but
and
last
on top of it, the Rock Hall isn't even rock anymore. And they put all these bands in there, Missy Elliott and crap.
Missy Elliott going in. Come on, dude.
It's not even rock.
That.
It's horrible.
But did I talk on the show last week about Matt Wardlaw?
You didn't talk about it. We talked about it, but you didn't talk about it on the show.
Let's give him his props where props are due.
Yes.
Our good friend, Matt Wardlaw, my former co-host on the Metal Show a million years ago on WMMS, got a major radio job this week. Or I guess it's been about a month now, but it just was announced this week officially. He is hosting the Ultimate Classic Rock Show on 100+ stations across the United States. That's like major big-time syndication.
That's huge.
100 stations, and Matt is doing it's nightly, I guess, from 7 to midnight.
Wow.
You know, and it's our buddy Matt.
It is. It's our buddy Matt, and I miss Matt. I wish we could talk to Matt. We should get him on this show.
We should get him on. He'll come on.
But Matt, if you've never met Matt, Matt's kind of a... You wouldn't guess that Matt would be on the radio 5 nights a week, 5 hours a night, because he's not an outspoken guy. He's very quiet sometimes. When you talk to him off the air, especially, he's a quiet, humble guy, super nice, and like he doesn't have that us personality.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a very good way. And he is like the super.
He's the voice of reason.
Guy. He is, and always has been. And so, we got to get him on the show to like congratulate him personally. I think that'd be
absolutely,
find out what that is all about.
Yeah, I'll talk to him, and I will say if people do want to hear that show, hear Matt doing that show, you can go to ultimateclassicrock.com, I believe is the website, and at the very top there's a button that says "Listen Live," and it just plays the latest show over and over again, like in repeat. So you can listen to it all day long if you want to. But I couldn't believe it. Dude, it's so bizarre too. I was literally, Radio Insights, the trade magazine or the trade publication. Yeah. I check out their website a couple times a year, maybe 3 times a year. Not often, but I try to keep my nose a little into radio. And I just happened to go there, and who's on the cover, or who's on the front page of their website? Matt. And I was like, are you kidding me with this? I start reading it, and I texted him, and I was like, what the hell? How come I didn't hear about this? And, but I could not be happier for my old radio buddy. What's funny is he acknowledged the only time he's ever been fired in radio was because of me. I got him fired. I got us both fired from 92.3 for being a shock jock. Too shocking for the.
Why did the metal show end at MMS? I don't remember why.
Because Matt was the web guy as well at MMS.
Right.
And
they eliminated that position?
They eliminated that position, but they wanted to keep the show. Matt was furious about getting fired. He didn't want to continue the show. And the weird thing is they reached out to me and asked me to do it without Matt. And I said, hell no. I wasn't going to. Matt brought me in. I was not going to screw him over on that deal. So we left and we sat out our 90 days, but we had a call from Kim Monroe, who was the program director at 92, like right away. Like we sat out we knew that we were going to be on 92 probably 75 of the 90 days that we had to sit out.
Wow.
And then we signed our contracts, like on day 91 we signed our contracts, and then we were on that Saturday, and Foz was fired, rest in peace, but Foz was shown the door.
Trying to think of who else is on that metal show?
Mine?
The metal show on MMS back in the day. There's
just me and Matt.
No, but maybe there was another.
There was somebody before me, but I don't remember who it was.
Jim Brussy, I think it was.
Maybe, I don't know.
can't remember what he went by on the radio, but it was yeah. I was.
He was the gatekeeper. I know what the character's name was.
The gatekeeper, yeah.
It was the warlock and the gatekeeper.
Yeah, and I was on their show a few times.
Because when they brought me on, I can remember Matt and I don't remember the guy's name at MMS, but they're like, okay, what's your radio name? And I was like, Chris Aiken. And they're like, no, you need a name. I was like, no, Chris Aiken. That's my name. And that's why for the longest time, for the whole run that I was on the metal show, both on MMS and on 92, it was the Warlock and Chris Aiken. Like I was not going to be the gatekeeper or the wolf man or I wasn't going to do that. I just was like, what am I, 10?
I got my name. They gave me my name like the first day I was an intern there. I showed up at like 4 o'clock in the morning for this morning show, Danny, Darlin, Corey morning show.
Right.
And I had to like knock on the door. I couldn't figure out how to get into the damn place. And I had on I tried to like dress nice, like a nice shirt and stuff. But
sure.
I had hair that was down to like the middle of my back.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like you, dude. I didn't have a beard yet though, because I couldn't really grow one. I was
right.
Bloomer as far as growing a beard. So it was like little patches of fur everywhere. And I walked in and the guy goes, Danny, he goes, you're a fucking barbarian. From that day forward, I was Seth the Barbarian on MMS.
Nice.
15 or 10 years.
Yeah, well, you got your money's worth out of that name.
Yeah. It was good times. And then I got this thing for being like a metal guy, like, because I did some of those metal shows with the gatekeeper.
Sure.
Matt
well, you came on with us too.
Yeah,
you came on with us on occasion.
And so I got this like image, like I didn't want to tell him, like, look, man, I like Michael Jackson and Gloria Estefan, dude. Like,
dude, that was the weirdest.
I like the metal stuff too, but
sure. Well, that was the weirdest thing about me and Matt. Matt and I, we'd be playing, Sepultura, Soulfly, Cannibal Corpse, or whatever. And in between, Matt would be like, oh, you got to hear this. This is a bootleg Genesis show from 1982 or whatever. It was always like Matt would come in with like a handful of CDs every single week for me. And they were always like, hey, look at this. It's the best of John Mellencamp from 1986, live at the Coliseum or whatever, and like we would trade CDs that were not metal.
You know that phrase, fake it till you make it?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was doing there for a lot of years, man. Like, look, I was a fan of all the music that we played. I was a fan. But I was always the hits guy. So that's why I liked radios, because I always played the hits.
Right.
But I couldn't take a deep dive in any discussion about, any particular band. And so I remember the night that Dimebag died. And I'm a Pantera fan because I just liked the music.
Sure.
But I couldn't tell you where they played in 1982. 10,000 people here. I couldn't tell you anything about the band itself other than I liked the music.
Right.
And when Dimebag died, they called me. They're like, Seth, you got to get up to the station. I was like, why? Dimebag died. Oh, shit. Right. So I go up to the station, and I'm all the way there. I'm like, what the hell am I going to say about Dimebag?
Yeah.
And I'm like, back then, you didn't have a phone that you could Google stuff on.
Right.
And so I'm freaking out. Like, and I got up there and I faked my way through that show, and it was an emotional show, but it was a great show. But yeah, it was like this image of being this metal guy. I liked the songs. That's all it was.
Right. That's funny.
All right. Well, I guess it's about that time.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
I want to thank our guest tonight,
Keith Wallen.
Much appreciated. It was good times with him.
Yeah.
Check out his solo stuff. Also, Breaking Benjamin stuff is fantastic.
Of course.
And coming up on Wednesday, not a clue what we got going on.
We'll find somebody.
I'm thinking
maybe Tony will shoot a video this week, huh?
We'll see what Tony has in store on Wednesday. I'm going to try to get the guy from the Odd Fellows on.
Okay.
Talk about this Coach for Kids event coming up.
Cool.
And we'll see what else pops up. So,
all right. Sounds good.
Thanks, everybody, listening tonight. We appreciate it. And God willing, we'll talk to you again on Wednesday.
See ya.